everybody. Welcome once again to Oh No Anime. My name is Mark.
I'm Patrick.
This is Usa. Thank you so much for joining us again. We just wanted to make a quick little video because something has come to our attention this season that I don't think a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah, we most certainly weren't until one of our friends, Claude, said, "Hey, no, go watch this."
And if they are aware of it, then I don't think they're watching it just based on certain prejudices, maybe.
I think it's fair to have a prejudice against.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that, though.
Yeah. So we want to talk about Thunderbolt Fantasy. So a lot of you might be wondering what the hell is Thunderbolt Fantasy.
If you have Crunchyroll, you probably saw it and scrolled right by it because
didn't know what the fuck it was.
It's puppets.
Yeah, it is
I'm gonna put that out there. It's
officially
puppets.
It is a Japanese-Taiwanese glove puppetry show, which is a collaboration between Nitro Plus, Good Smile Company, and a Taiwanese puppetry studio called Peely International Media.
Peely, of course.
Yes, Peely.
I know them well.
It was originally made for broadcast in Chinese in Taiwan, and is now being broadcast in 3 languages. Minnan Chinese, which is spoken mainly in South China and Taiwan. It's the majority language of Taiwan. Mandarin Chinese, and Japanese. Crunchyroll has the Japanese version of it. And we wanted to talk about it because it's insane.
Lit. It's pretty fucking lit.
It's insane. It's definitely one of the most, if not the most ambitious things I've ever seen.
It's a thing.
And it is certainly the most interesting thing on just by sheer strangeness on this season.
Came out of nowhere, and I watched it. Claude texted me, and he said, "I don't know what I watched. It was pretty great, though, but puppets."
I couldn't have seen it under more mysterious circumstances because I was literally about to go to bed the other night, and Patrick messaged me and he's just like, "Dude, you know that puppet show?" And I was just like, "I don't know, do I?" And then he was just like, "Just go watch it." And I watched it, and it is
what the fuck?
It's insane. It's about as mixed media as you could possibly get. There's a lot of CGI special effects. There's a lot of tokusatsu style sparks and smoke and very much stuff that takes its origin from Japanese and Asian live action TV shows. And then it's puppetry. It's really advanced glove puppetry. The
puppets themselves look
incredible.
Really good.
So just a couple words on the production of the show. So Gen Urobuchi of Nitro Plus.
Of course, it's Gen. It's always Gen.
This is his passion project, and apparently it happened because he was in Taiwan on vacation and saw a traditional Taiwanese hand puppet show and was amazed by the intensity of it and was like, "Holy shit, I want to do this." So he essentially pulled the team together, I guess. So he represents the Nitro Plus side of it. They also are responsible for the actual designs of the puppet, the original designs.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Good Smile Company is, quote unquote, the visual advisor, but they made the puppets.
Yeah, in fact they had them at Anime Expo.
They did.
I walked by them probably 10 times.
I just thought that they were starting to produce dolls because these puppets were literally this big. They were massive.
Yeah, they're huge. They looked cool, but I was just like, that's not my shit. So whatever.
Didn't know what it was for. And I was just like, I don't know what Thunderbolt Fantasy is. This is I mean, it's cool that they're making puppets now, whatever. But and then Peely International Media is a Taiwanese studio. They've done puppetry shows in the past, but they're responsible for all of the motion and production of the show. There's a manga actually that is going to be starting late July in Kodansha's Weekly Morning magazine. It's illustrated by Yui Sakuma and is written by Gen again. So for those of you that haven't seen the show, it's essentially Eastern high fantasy. Yeah. It's very much in the Chinese ancient storytelling tradition. It's produced in the style of a Chinese opera, and they use something which is called Nian Bai. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's Nianbai. In Japanese, it's called Nenpaku, and it's poetic soliloquy.
Okay.
And they actually, I was on the Wikipedia page for the show earlier, and this is a central part of traditional Chinese opera and stagecraft.
You're making me a learned man today.
Yeah. So if you noticed, for those of you that have seen the show, in the first episode, when Tomokazu Seki's character, the main villain, descends from on high, he gives a poetic soliloquy in Chinese.
I did notice that. It's hard to ignore because they have the words pop up.
Exactly. So that's a nenpaku, or a nyanbai.
Okay.
And the explanation is actually of this. This is like a whole
probably a whole nother
section.
Wikipedia article.
Yeah. So when a character makes his official entrance to the story, that character will recite aloud an introductory poem indicating their characteristics, motives, and or personal goals. The Japanese dub noticeably leaves the soliloquy lines in Minnan Chinese and releases the Japanese translations on their official website after the episode's been released. Since the Japanese dub casts individual actors instead of the male-only casting tradition of Minnan Chinese, which is also a pretty old tradition of Chinese like dramatic poetry, they treated the soliloquy as an off-screen descriptive narration. Basically, what that means is they left the off-site descriptive narration, meaning they left the original Chinese voice actor in there pronouncing his own, so the original soliloquy in Chinese, and then they had subtitles and also the characters rolling on the side screen. Really, really, really interesting, and definitely cool. Not something
it's very striking when it happens in the show too. Like they make it like that Chinese character, doom, 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 each word. It's really
and
cool.
it's just like it's very intense. It is very operatic. A lot of it reminds me, like, if you've ever seen a kabuki, it's very similar to that. I mean, these all descend from the same sorts of, stage traditions. But this is like a very specific kind of like Taiwanese tradition that I don't think really any Westerners have been exposed to before, unless you've been to one in Taiwan. And it's just really interesting look at a part of history and a part of like storytelling that we're literally never, like, especially watching anime, certainly we're never privy to.
This is pretty different. Seeing it pop up on Crunchyroll was a surprise.
Yeah. So there is actually a good amount of the show that is left in, for Western viewers, if you're watching it on Crunchyroll, that is left in Minnan Chinese, specifically the names.
That's a difficulty for me.
I would say the Wikipedia page actually provides a lot of insight into that, because all of the names when they're spoken in Japanese, obviously, like we were talking about before, they use the Japanese readings of the characters, so they all have very Japanese sounding names in the show. But when they're translated by the people that sub for Crunchyroll, they're left in their original Chinese. So a lot of it can be lost in translation. I would suggest maybe during the show, if you are, I mean, you're never going to not understand what is happening in the story, but it is easy to lose yourself in the characters.
Yeah.
On the Wikipedia page, every single like place name and object name that they have in Chinese, they have it written out in with English definitions. So I would suggest to have that open while you're watching the show, because it can provide a lot of insight that you may have missed. The show has a lot of money in it, I think.
Because that's obvious from like moment one.
Because the effects are movie quality, at least Japanese movie quality.
Not quite Transformers, but they're getting there.
We spoke of tokusatsu earlier, which is if you don't know the word,
live action superhero
shows that involve a lot of intense battles.
This
definitely takes a lot of cues from that, but the effects are so much better than any tokusatsu I've ever seen, except for like tokusatsu movies. That it's really incredible. The first episode alone, my mouth was hanging open the entire time. Speaking of money,
here we go.
Let's talk about the voice cast of this show, because the voice cast of this show is it's earth shattering. So we've got Junichi Suwabe in the titular character role. Junichi Suwabe, of course, is Space Dandy. I'm gonna just rail down this list because it's really long. We got Josuke Toriumi, Imaizumi from Yoppeda, Tomokazu Seki, of course, the villain Gilgamesh from the Fate series, Mai Nakahara, Nagisa Furukawa from Clannad, Rikia Koyama, Klaus from Kekkai Sensen, Kenichi Suzumura, Okita Sogo from Gintama, Sayaka Ohara, Ezra Scarlet from Fairy Tail, Nobuyuki Hiyama, Sanagayama from Kill la Kill, Daisuke Hirakawa Kakyoin from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Kazuhiro Yamaji, Silver Fang from One Punch Man. His character hasn't shown up yet. I'm really excited to see him. Hiroki Yasumoto, Kinjo from Yoapeda. Haruka Tomatsu, Pina Colada from Gate. Toru Okawa, Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. And Atsuko Tanaka, Bayonetta, as the fucking narrator.
Yeah, it's insane.
So, this show is... it's pretty clear watching it is a passion project of near everyone involved.
Yeah, the other staff is crazy too. We've got Sawano on the music, and the ending theme is TM Revolution.
It's the opening theme.
Opening, I'm sorry. It was ending in the first episode. Yeah.
TM Revolution as for the opening theme, and Hiroyuki Sawano, a frequent collaborator with Gen Urobuchi on his shows, but...
didn't expect to hear him here.
I didn't expect to see him, but he gives a level of validity to the show and intensity that I think it not only needs but deserves. I mean, the score of the first episode is everything that you could possibly hope for.
It just draws you more into the show.
Hilarious too, because as much as I love the score from Cabaneri, his show from last season, this already, what I've heard of it, kicks its ass. It's just
it adds to the show instead of distracting.
Yeah,
it's a major difference.
It is definitely. You've got your signature, epic soaring stuff, and you've got your vocal tracks and stuff, but it really melds so well with the show. It's incredible. I'm trying to think of anything else to say about it other than how much I like it.
Talk about the story real quick. We actually haven't touched that.
Yeah, let's talk about the story.
The main character is a traveler who happens upon a woman who is injured.
Yeah,
and would have ignored her except for the fact that he owed Buddha a favor.
Yeah.
After stealing an umbrella from a
Buddha shrine. Buddha. Yeah.
So he winds up getting involved with her, and we slowly find out that I started in the middle of episode 1.
Yeah.
But basically, she's the protector of a divine weapon.
Yeah.
And her brother has just been killed trying to protect the weapon. He gets sucked into this and really wants no part of it.
Yeah.
It's very like Asian fantasy.
It is about as kind of ancient Chinese milieu as you could possibly imagine. Not in like the Mulan sense,
No.
like in a very traditional Chinese story. I mean, the costumes of the puppets are all so like crazy. Ridiculously ornate, and very much in that Chinese tradition, like broad shoulders and long flowing kind of things. Soabe's character, I think, is intended to be from Japan, considering the fact that he wields a katana.
Country. Yeah, he's from a different country. He doesn't know any of the big names there. He pisses off the bad guys because he doesn't know who they are. Yeah,
he very much, even if he is not maybe meant to be from Japan, because in the show he does have a Chinese name, but he very clearly is meant to be of that era's foreigner, which would be someone from Japan, and he wields a katana. His hair is very much done up in the samurai way. Like his clothing is much more plain than everyone else's. So it's very much that kind of thing. But like all the minor characters that they've introduced really so far are really awesome.
In episode 2, all the 2 new additions to his party. I guess,
Bowman is the coolest.
What was his name? Like the Steel-Eyed Impaler or
something like that. He's insane.
I don't know.
But the other thing about the show that I think is really intriguing to think about is the fact that these puppets have mouths. They open and close, but there's no specific. They all have very like intense expressions on their faces. But they're puppets and they don't change. Like they don't like cut away and their expression changes. So all of their dialogue is conveyed through really exaggerated body language. Yes. So it does feel very much like a traditional stage play. Yeah. They're all making these like grand gestures and waving their swords around while they're talking. I mean, it's so different than anything that you could possibly imagine, and it's really hard to even think about it. Like, is it an anime? I don't know. It is.
It isn't.
It isn't. But
I
think
staff,
it belongs.
From the puppet company.
I think it belongs I think it belongs more with anime than anything else.
Yeah, well, that's mostly due to against storytelling methods, I would say. Yeah.
Well, against storytelling methods, of course, Hiroyuki Sawano will be very familiar to anyone that's watched anime in the past, and honestly, it's directed like an anime.
Yeah.
All the fight scenes are very much like anime, like the sword play and the way that people move are all very much like anime, and I just definitely think that is the audience that they're aiming for, is like people that in Japan at least. people that watch anime and want to see something different, and this is about as different as you could possibly get without just watching straight drama. Definitely. And this is better than any drama I've ever seen. So like, it's in terms of like fighting and stuff. I mean, the level of production alone,
it's pretty incredible.
It's incredible.
You don't really need to worry about animation falling off towards the end of the production either. That's not an issue.
It's just so like it's something that every single person should give at least one shot. Because this is very, I can feel the importance of this. It is there's so many moving pieces, so much more than most anime have, and it's very clearly got a quite considerable amount of money behind it. And it's an international production, which is not something that you see basically ever in anime.
There's another one this season, though. Hikaru no Shida is that's run by Tencent, a Chinese company.
Oh right, yeah. That's becoming more common, but
not
on this level. Yeah, I mean
Tencent put up the money for that.
Yeah,
that's the end of the cooperation.
The studio responsible for the production of the show is a Taiwanese studio.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, and it is meant for a Taiwanese audience. It's just, it also is meant for a Japanese audience, considering how so many Japanese people also worked on this. But, it's just something that I think everyone should give a chance. And also I think it's something that, like, not very many people would give a chance to, considering how they'd be like, why the hell is this even here?
No, exactly. I flipped right by it.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
The way I watch my anime is I sit on whatever device I'm watching my shit on, and I go, updated episodes, and I go, I'll watch this. And I saw that, and I'm like, all right, these are probably,
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody texted me and told me to watch it. Cause
It is the best that you could hope for so many things. Like a show with puppets, first of all, you would never expect to look good, but it looks fantastic. Eastern high fantasy, it's about as good as you're going to get in like an anime sort of setting. The story is
very, very gripping.
Yeah. And just the level of cohesiveness with everything. The voice acting is like off the goddamn charts. I mean, you have everyone that you would ever want to see, both old and new. You see
an American actor in a stage play.
Yeah.
Like how they always like almost overact, but it still works. It's a lot like that.
I mean, this has got to be such an interesting experience for the voice actors working on the show. But I mean, just it is a very important thing that has certainly never happened before. Mm. And if it has, it was not notable because neither of us know about it. But also, it's just, I for one feel lucky that we have something like this because A, it's incredibly unique, but also B, 5-10 years ago we would have never even known something like this would have existed. No. And so
I would have known this existed a week ago if Crunchyroll didn't. I don't know how they got it, but they do.
I'm glad that they did because it's
pretty interesting.
I mean, it's clearly I don't know who it's being licensed by in Japan or like the licensing of it is handled, but it's clearly someone that licenses anime. Because that's why Crunchyroll has it.
Yeah.
So, and it's in their anime section. So, it's clearly, at least aimed at us a little bit. So, yeah, if you have not seen Thunderbolt Fantasy yet, I give it a 10 out of 10 so far, and you need to go watch it because it is incredible.
It's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, everybody, until the next time we talk about this fucking show.
Probably in our next regular episode, whenever that is.
For sure. Anyways, until then, we'll see you later.